Marketing That Works is the podcast for business owners who want to move their brand forward so that they can bring in more sales and clients. I'm Danielle Harris, and I'm bringing you what I know from more than 12 years of experience in traditional and online marketing. I have created marketing strategies for businesses of all sizes, from multi-million-dollar corporations to early-stage online businesses. Remember, some marketers chase fads. I believe in mastering the fundamentals. Stop saying your opinions are controversial or spicy. Owning your thought leadership is the first step to creating powerful messaging that grows your business. In this episode, I'm going to break down why positioning your thought leadership as spicy doesn't serve you and how to take ownership of your opinions without disclaimers. I was listening to a podcast not too long ago, and every other sentence from the hosts and the guests were, "This is so controversial," or "This is a hot take." Honestly, I almost turned off the episode. These two people who wanted to be seen as leaders on the cutting edge just weren't presenting themselves in that way. And I realize that we are very quick to position ourselves as quote unquote spicy or controversial, when what we really want is to position ourselves as thought leaders that see the industry through a unique lens. This concept of owning your expertise is something I really want women of color to hear. Because we know people are going to disagree. So before anyone can disagree with what we have to say, we armor ourselves and prepare. Because someone not agreeing with your position can often be a case of not being valued. But for everyone listening, I want you to start owning your opinions and thought leadership. But before we go any further, let's define what it means to be controversial. All it means to be controversial is to give rise to public disagreement. And with that definition, literally anything can be controversial. Milk first, then cereal. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Refine your messaging before you do a photo shoot. Anything that people can disagree with can be considered controversial. This includes what you have to say, with or without disclaimers. So let's break down some reasons why you're positioning your opinions as, quote, controversial or spicy. First, let's talk about why you use these disclaimers. You don't want to offend people or rub them the wrong way. Before anyone can say anything about you or your point of view, you beat them to the punch and add the disclaimer that what you're about to say is spicy or controversial. It's basically the logic. I already know you might not agree with my opinions, so I'm going to put this disclaimer on to beat you to the punch so you don't hate me. And this really comes from a few things. Yes, you don't want people to publicly disagree with your opinions, but also you're afraid of being misunderstood by potential clients. You don't want people who might be considering working with you to think you're judging them or looking down on them. Because of course, you want clients to like you, so you want to tone down your true opinions. I want to remind you that people who actually have controversial opinions don't ever position themselves as controversial. They own it. They say it proudly and loudly. When clients think their opinions are too bold or might make people feel bad, I ask them one question. Do you stand by your opinion? They always look up, evaluate all the other positions they could take, and ultimately say yes, they do stand behind their opinion. They recognize that their opinion isn't one they came up with randomly. It's rooted in their experience and expertise. They realize people may not agree, but my clients' experiences have taught them that their point of view is best. So when you're tempted to put that disclaimer on your opinion, remind yourself of all the reasons why you stand behind that point of view and share it loudly and proudly. Let me give you an example. I had a client who struggled with owning her expertise without the disclaimer. She's a business coach who at the time believed that everyone should charge high ticket prices, meaning more than $1,000 for every service. However, she noticed that a lot of people in her audience felt uncomfortable charging more than $500 for their services. She deeply believed in charging high ticket, but was always nervous about sharing this for a few reasons. Because one, people in her audience weren't in the habit of charging that much. And second, because people in her circle were encouraging other pricing models. Because of this, she feared that if she shared her stance, she would push away potential clients and get into big disagreements with peers in her industry, both of which felt like a big risk for her. So I asked her if she stood behind her reasoning for selling at a minimum of $1,000. Just that one simple question. And of course, she said yes. I told my client to trust her reasons and stand behind her own opinions. And as we worked together, I supported her every week in our sessions on having her own back and standing in her leadership opinions and the content that she created. Of course, this took time. She didn't immediately take all the disclaimers out of her speech or her post, but over time, she practiced standing by her opinions and really owning her own thought leadership. Now to recap, when you're tempted to put that disclaimer on your opinion, it may be coming from a place of wanting to be liked, wanting to avoid conflict, and avoid misunderstanding. However, if you're ready to stand in your thought leadership more firmly, ask yourself if you stand behind the reasons for having this opinion, and remind yourself of all the reasons you stand behind them. Then share it loudly and proudly. And if that's a struggle, in a moment, I'm going to give you an exercise that will help you feel empowered to share your opinions. Okay, now that we understand why you may be using these disclaimers, let's jump into why these disclaimers hurt you and your credibility. Positioning your opinions as spicy or controversial is unintentionally sowing doubt and apprehension behind the belief that you want people to adopt or consider. Your goal is for people to hear your point of view and start to adopt it. Labeling what you have to say as spicy or controversial makes people wonder, if it's controversial, should I be doing it? Or skeptical saying, I'll take this with a grain of salt. Or run towards another source asking people, what is everyone else saying about this? That is not what you want people to think or do as they listen to your leadership stance. You're giving people a reason to second guess you. What you want is for people to see your opinion, take time to think about it, try it on, and ask you more questions about your own opinions. You want them to ask questions about how you came up with that opinion. You want them to ask how they can work with you to adopt this for themselves. I mean, imagine going to your regular checkup and your doctor starts talking about spicy opinions and controversial medical treatments. All kinds of red flags are going to go off. You'd be sitting there on that table nervous about if you should even be listening to this doctor. That's not the experience you want to create. Going back to my business coach client, it would not serve her or her audience to sow seeds of doubt and apprehension behind charging high ticket. Her audience is already a bit nervous about charging more for their services. Labeling this decision as spicy only gives more reason to not charge more. It would actively work against my client to position her opinions that way. Sharing your leadership opinion should give hope to your audience. Sharing your leadership opinion should show what is possible, and spicy doesn't do that. Ultimately, you don't want to unintentionally give your audience a reason to doubt you by labeling what you're saying as spicy. You want to be grounded and confident in what you're about to share, allowing your audience to stay open-minded and form their own opinions, which, yes, could include them disagreeing with you. So, you understand your need to call your opinion spicy. You see how doing that is not serving you. But now, I want to share an activity to help you feel more empowered to share your leadership opinions without disclaimers. I told you earlier the one question I asked my client. Do you stand behind what you believe? But now I want you to go deeper than that, because that may not have been enough to calm the alarm bells going off in your head. So I want you to list the 5 reasons why you stand behind that opinion. It could be research that supports your opinion. It could be a personal experience you've had. The point is for you to have evidence for yourself. The point is to remind yourself that what you're about to say isn't just a random shower thought, but something you've deeply considered. It proves that you aren't taking lightly what you are about to share. When I work with my clients and have them do this exercise, they often surprise themselves with how sure they are of their opinions. They usually don't take the time to really review their reasons. That alone gives them confidence. But what's even better for my clients is that they have me with them along the way. I dedicate sessions to drafting content that highlights their leadership opinions. I am with them when they feel nervous and want to tone down their opinions. I support them the whole way. And at each step, they can fall back on their clearly defined reasons as reassurance when they post and share their leadership opinions. If the only thing you take away from this episode is liking your reasons for your opinion, then I'm going to call that a win. Taking ownership of your opinions and feeling confident enough to share them loudly and proudly comes from being deeply rooted and liking the logic behind what you're saying. And when that happens, you won't be as afraid or doubtful every time you share an opinion. You won't be as afraid of potential clients not liking you. So, the next time you're tempted to post an IG story or create a subject line with, "This one's spicy," or "Here's my hot take," don't. Use this as a chance to fully step into your leadership opinions. And this is especially important for women of color to remember as well. Don't diminish your thoughts or opinions. The world needs to hear more of what you have to say. In my one-on-one messaging program, The Blueprint, I help you craft your leadership opinions and use that to start attracting and signing more dream clients. I support you as you grow your confidence and help you to leverage your industry-leading opinions to build authority in your business. During this 3-month program, you'll get weekly support reviewing content, access to me between sessions as roadblocks come up, and supportive feedback where you can feel empowered to take action. Head over to the show notes to book a call to work with me. On this call, we'll talk for about an hour about how you can start creating marketing that speaks directly to your dream clients using your story without disclaimers. Okay, y'all, I'll talk to you next time. If you want more marketing that works right in your inbox, head to the show notes and sign up for the email list. You'll be the first to know how you can work with me on mastering your marketing.